Jack, rip that door.
What are you doing here?
Getting you out. Here, put this on. You'll need it.
You could get into a lot of trouble for doing this.
Not anymore. Things have changed. We better go.
What about the other prisoners? We can't just leave them here.
They're gone. Hoffman pardoned everybody.
Is that right?
Welcome back to the army, soldier.
Shit.
Let's go. We've got two options. We can go back the way I came, through the guards' quarters. It takes time, but it's safe. Or we can go through the prison blocks and get right...
Welcome everybody, Josh here, back again today with a brand new and special product review. Today we're talking about this, which is Gears of War on the original Xbox 360. Now, I am playing this game on the Xbox Series S or the modern day consoles of the Xbox Series S and X, and this is due to backwards compatibility. So if you have an Xbox Series S and X, you can definitely play Gears of War in terms of the first game franchise on either console. Now, as you guys know, I'm a massive fan of the Gears of War franchise. It's basically been a part of my life since the very beginning in 2006 when I first played this game on the Xbox 360 with my brother. I played through the entirety of the first game in the franchise co-op with my brother, and you can also play this game solo if you wish. Now, I am a huge fan of the storyline of Gears of War. It takes the whole idea of warfare relatively seriously compared to something like that of Call of Duty or even Halo for that matter. While Halo does take its subject matter seriously to a point, I think that the video game Gears of War has a much more serious and darker tone to it. You, Marcus Phoenix, you are basically broken out of prison by Dominic Santiago, who is basically Marcus's best friend. Marcus has been sent to prison for going AWOL to try and save his father during the Emergence Day situation, and this game takes place 4 years after Emergence Day, where Marcus Phoenix is basically trying to relink with Delta Squad. Delta Squad thinks that they can try and stop the Locust Horde that are emerging from these holes that are coming through the sinkholes in the ground to stop them on planet Sera, and Sera is being invaded, or at least being taken over by these locusts that basically come out of ground and try and assault Marcus and his team, which also consists of Anthony Carmine as well as Coltrane. And all these characters in this game really do matter in terms of the context of the story. Every single one of these characters have really awesome dialogue in terms of their one-liners and some of the exposition that they are dumping along the way. You find out that the forces run by General Rom are trying to take over underground so that way they can basically take over the city from above, and realize that Marcus and his team are humanity's last-ditch effort to save everyone on planet Sera. And I think that with this game being as heavily focused on warfare as it pretty much is, you get these really cool weapons in the Gears of War franchise called Lancers, where Lancers, like I have in the back of my background here, have a chainsaw on it, and you can basically rev it up and basically assault any of the Locust Horde that comes your way, or you can pretty much fire assault rifle rounds into the Locust Horde's skulls or any part of their body that you can target in the game. This game does have a third-person action-adventure narrative to it, which I really do like in terms of the context of the story. We take cover by pressing A. You can also roll and dodge and with pressing the left stick and then also hitting A at the same time as well. A lot of these control schemes that you see in Gears of War are in other video game franchises like Uncharted and some of the other third-person action-adventure titles that you don't love. Even Assassin's Creed borrows heavily from Gears of War. And I think even in 2006, this game revolutionized the gaming industry. We didn't really know even back then how much more games were going to be influenced by the single player narrative as well as the movement mechanics that were featured in Gears of War. I really do like the multiplayer as well, which I really didn't get to play that much of when I was a kid. I mostly ran through the single player campaign co-op, which you can play 2 players in single player campaign, or you can go solo like I did before. And I really do like going solo because you get to experience this amazing storytelling narrative and the hero's journey for Marcus Phoenix and his Delta Squad for yourself. I think that the different monsters such as the Berserker, which is pretty cool, where it basically traps you in this cathedral and you're trying to slam the Berserker into different pillars. And there's also different monsters that take damage from laser weapons, and it's called the Resonator, and you can use the Resonator to try and take down one of these massive spider-like creatures that comes out of the ground and kind of tries to take out you and your squad. I think that all of these creatures and all the gameplay mechanics really adhere to a really solid story in terms of the Gears of War franchise, and I don't think it's even anything that couldn't be matched even to this day. Even some of the later games of the franchise, while I do like Gears of War 4 for what it is in terms of the story, I really really do like the first 3 Gears of War games the most. I think that Gears of War 1 has a really solid campaign. Gears of War 2 even improved on that, which this isn't really a Gears of War 2 review. And then we get Gears of War 3, which is basically the culmination of the entire franchise, where Marcus Phoenix and his team try and stop the Locust Horde threat. And I think that one of the things that makes Gears of War more special than any other video game franchise is due to the weapons that are involved. The weapons in this game are brutal, they're gnarly, they're vicious in terms of the way that they destroy things. I think that the movement mechanics is also something that's special, where you can vault over different objects and take down enemies that way. You can stealth assassinate characters in this game as well. Cliffy B, who designed Gears of War 1 in terms of the story of this game, really did a good job of handling the game's themes, where Marcus Phoenix is a guy that's trying to get out of prison so that way he can save his father. He's also trying to struggle with the fact that humanity is under threat from the Locust Horde, and you've got all the other characters underneath him that he has to watch over because he is their sergeant, and he is the one that's going to end up ultimately saving the day at the end anyway. And then you've got Dominic Santiago, who's Marcus Phoenix's best friend. He's his ally, his mentor figure throughout the entirety of the game. He's always got his back in terms of the context of the story and trying to help Marcus save his father as well. And you also got Marcus Phoenix's love interest Anya, who's acting as the woman that he's fighting everything for. You got the other characters that come in play, such as Carmine, who's the comic relief figure, and it's a really cool character in the game as well. I think that with narrative that they're trying to tell within Gears of War, I don't think you could get away with doing that style of storytelling even to this day. I think that this is a lightning in a bottle story, and a lot of the gameplay mechanics of this, like I said before, carried over in other games in the franchise. So it really did revolutionize third-person shooter action games as well as first-person shooter games as well. A lot of these slide mechanics you see in modern first-person games were revolutionized by games like Gears of War and added different movement mechanics you see in gaming to this day. We're also kind of influenced by Gears as well as Halo. And so if you're a fan of Microsoft's Xbox, or if you just have an Xbox and you want to play some really good games with a really good story with a lot of heart and soul to it, I would recommend the very first game in the Gears of War franchise. Getting to the final end where you're on that train sequence with General Rom, who's basically this big bad that's trying to threaten Marcus Phoenix and his team the entirety of the game, is a really cool fight sequence where you kind of use light and the cover kind of take him out, which is a really difficult and confusing boss fight, especially someone that really didn't play this game for a while and just came back to it, especially even recently. I think it was a really cool boss fight to finish and then actually feel like you've actually earned something in a game, whereas so many games in these types of franchises really don't let you earn anything. It's pretty easy boss fights for most of these modern day first-person shooters, but General Rom is a tough boss fight and you actually feel like you accomplished something in the end. So I think that once you have played Gears of War, you have a different feeling for the characters, the universe, and the lore of the story. The lore of the story is amazing in terms of all the different books and comic books and stuff that spawned from the very first Gears of War franchise, which I do have on my shelf back here. I think that, as a Gears of War fan, I think that this game really is top tier in terms of its gameplay design, its narrative, the storytelling, the one-liners. Pretty much the gameplay mechanics that you have in this game are something that can't be matched even in modern day third-person action games. So that is my opinion of Gears of War on the original Xbox 360 as well as the Xbox Series S and X through backwards compatibility. I think that if you're buying these games with the Ultimate Edition, you get all the digital codes like I did for access to the original games, or if you're just buying these games outright, you're not going to sacrifice high quality story-driven narratives for buying it on the newer generation platforms. And I think that Gears of War as a whole is worth $60 even to this day at a full price if you actually have to pay that price. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of Gears of War 1. I'm going to be going through the Gears of War franchise on this channel just because I recently beat these. They're a game franchise that's really influenced my work, like I said before, as a screenwriter and storyteller, and I actually got to play these games when they originally came out with my brother in the original Xbox, so it kind of had that extra feeling of a band of brothers situation where I'm playing it with my actual brother and we're actually going through the single player campaign and fighting the Locust, watching each other six. It was a really cool experience to have as a child, especially when I was growing up and getting to experience these games for myself. Now I'm a huge fan of the Halo franchise, and I think that Gears of War is just as good, if not better, than the Halo franchise because it takes its tone a little bit more darker than the Halo franchise itself. It has a little bit more of a serious tone to it, and that's one of the reasons why I really do like the campaign of the story. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think of Gears of War, the original Xbox 360. Did you play it when it came out? Did you play the newer versions of it on the Xbox Series S and X? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
You! Traitor like you doesn't deserve to wear the uniform.
Looks to me like you need all the help you can get.
Step aside. Lieutenant, I've got good news. We have a plan to end this war, once and for all.
Yeah, right.
Sensors are picking up enemy movement, sir, close by.
Locust! Take cover! Move! with one shot.
Up high!
But it can't work if we don't have the targeting data. That's why we need the resonator.
Watch the side!
You missed. It'll map their tunnel so that we can hit those sons of bitches where they live.
Now on this! Oh, yeah! Up there! How much can they take?
We've lost contact with Alpha Squad. Last transmission was from every square.
Down to 4.
I want you to get in there, find those men, and deploy that resonator.
Will we have air support?
What? Are you kidding? You are the support, son. Nemesis are keeping our birds out of the area. You'll have to move in on foot.
We're screwed.
Down to 2! All clear.
But the lieutenant here will be feeding you
Yes,
intel.
sir. And the smart thing to do right now would be to leave.
You, get it done.
That was satisfying.
I expect you to give me 110%, Phoenix.
I'm not doing this for you.